Hey y'all, can you guess who I am? It's actually always been my dream to be this princess.
Привет, мои друзья. Меня зовут Дом Десьело. Добро пожаловать на мой Makeup Mythology Monday. Сегодня мы в истории Каяги Анастасии. Пожалуйста, постелитесь и подпишитесь.
Quiet on the set. Hey, what's up? It's your girl Dom. It's Makeup Mythology Monday. Basically, I talk about beloved fictitious story from somewhere around the world and its origins while doing my makeup. So, all the stories down below about the story, as well as parts in the description, and also as well if you want to see more of my makeup looks, make sure to go follow me at IG at Dom La Belleza. But let's begin.
I already done my color correcting and done like the setting for that. And I started with my eyes, so I'm gonna do like a cool eye look. It's gonna be very wintry, you know? It's in the summer tree vibe.
So today we're talking about another one of my favorite red hair idols, Anastasia. So we're going to now. Well, she's actually based on a real person. So I'm gonna talk about maybe the main version that most of us know in America. The myth from the 1997 film named Anastasia, and then I'm gonna get into the origins of who she really was and how her story really went. Oh, trigger warning, there's lots of violence and bad things. In Anastasia the movie, we see like this big Russian palace. It's full of people who are dressed all fancy, doing rich people stuff. I don't understand. They go to balls or whatever. Probably St. Petersburg in 1960 before it became Petrograd. And everyone's having a good time. Anastasia's there with her parents, her grandparents, her siblings. But then Rasputin comes and he crashes the party. They're like, hey, we banished you from our court. And they're like, he's like, how can you betray me? I'll put a curse over you. So then we see a scene where Rasputin sold his soul to the devil. He will destroy all the Romanovs. And then we have a scene where like suddenly all the people are unhappy and they're sieging the palace. Everyone's getting attacked. The rest of the royal family goes missing. We don't know where they went. All we see is Anastasia and her grandmama. Right? They're trying to get away from the people, try to get on a train. This little servant boy helps them get out the palace, do like a back door for the servants' quarters, and they run. They're almost at the train. The grandmama gets on the train. Anastasia was trying to pull onto her. She falls off the train, bumps her head, and we see her just lay there. And then it's like St. Petersburg 10 years later. And there's a rumor that one of the Romanov daughters got away. Because, at this point in time, like, the Russians, well, most of the Russian population are peasants. So, like, having gossip to go over. And, talking about that possibility there could be someone from the royal family that survived the siege. Possibility that this happened. Little do we know, Dmitri is the little boy who was on the door helping them escape. He's one auditioning women to play the part of Anastasia to get the reward from the grandmama who's in Paris for 10 million rubles, I believe it was. And that's the reward. If someone can find Anastasia, they get 10 million rubles. So naturally you have a lot of people like being imposters, trying to get that money. They want to get that cash, but Miss Mama sees right through them, okay? And we went to Anya. She goes by Anya now. She doesn't know her name is Anastasia. She just goes by Anya. And she's going from an orphanage to go to get her first job. I think she's about 18 now. This is 10 years later. She's talking about how she has this necklace and says together in Paris. She doesn't know where it came from. She doesn't know who she was before she came to the orphanage. Because, you know, like in your head, just to get like amnesia. So she decides to go to St. Petersburg, but not for her job. To figure out how to get to Paris to find her family. And this is where it gets interesting. The homegirl is just so country and she knows nothing of the actual outside world, right? So she just tries to leave Russia. She goes to like the train station. She's like, one ticket for Paris, please. And he's like,
hey girl, like, where's your passport?
and she's like, I don't have one. And he's like,
too bad, you can't go nowhere.
got any papers? And she's like, what? Where do I get papers? And some lady on the side always knows something about everything, right? She's like, go to Dimitri. He's at the old palace. Don't tell him I told you. Dimitri, you know, just Dimitri. So she goes to this palace looking for Dimitri to get some papers so she can go to Paris. But he looks at her and he's like, yo, she looks a lot like this princess chick we're trying to con this woman into getting her money for. Hey, girl, why don't you come with us and help us scam this old lady, basically, is how this goes. First she's like, I don't know. He's really making her think that he thinks that she is royalty. And she's like, I don't know. But she's like, well, he's like, isn't your family in Paris anyway? That you want to go there to see your family? And she's like, I don't know if I should trust you. You seem kind of sketchy to me. And he is, girl. He's sketchy. But, I mean, what movie would it be if she didn't just go with it? Like, so, of course, she went with the mans. And they're traveling. Little did they know that the old family nemesis Rasputin is still, I guess, half alive. Like, he says he's in limbo. Because the curse wasn't fulfilled. And Anya is still alive and she's part of the Romanovs, right? The rest of them are dead. Rasputin's only mission is to get Anastasia and kill her so that he can, I don't know, summon the demons or like be with Satan. Like, I'm not really sure what his objective is. I'm not completely sure. Like, you sold your soul to the devil, bro. Like, who does that? Like, it just, basically, they go through obstacles because Rasputin is constantly trying to kill Anya so he can fulfill his curse or whatever. But they make it through because God must be looking out for them. They arrive to Paris, but they have to.
They teach her etiquette, like royal etiquette, so she seems like a royal person in front of the grandma, right? But, first before they can meet the grandma, they have to meet Sophie, her cousin, to see how legit she is. But grandma's had enough. She's like, I've seen too many people come here and try to pretend I might be my granddaughter. I'm done with y'all. Leave me alone. Said, I just want to die in peace. The rest of my family's dead. Like, let me be. So, they don't see her on that first meeting, but they go to the Russian ballet and see her there.
She's like, okay, hold on. This girl knows well, at first she wouldn't see her. But then Dimitri steals her car. And she's like, stop this car immediately. Let me out. I'm looking like, bitch, was you going? She meets Anya at first and she's like, okay, like, you know, they're phony, bogoni. But then she mentioned something about peppermint. About peppermint on her rug or something. And she's like, oh, wait, none of everyone's knew this. That's an actual thing. Then they realize, like, she has the music box Dimitri gave her back because he was like, this is what they left when they left the palace. I used to work there. I used to be a servant boy. And she's like, oh, you're the little boy that helped us escape the siege. He's like, yeah, I think I really found your granddaughter. Because he had a music box and then her little necklace is like the key to the music box. So she can open it up. And then they remember this song playing. And they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I found you. And that's, it was all sweet and stuff. Dimitri and Anastasia catch films for each other. But Anya's mad because she thought he was using her to con, well, he was using her to con her grandmama, but she was like, I don't want nothing to do with this man, he is trash. But then it's like, when grandma goes to give him the money for finding her, he's like, no, I don't want the money, I just want to go back to St. Petersburg and forget about meeting the love of my life. They have a great ball to celebrate finding Anastasia. Student shows up trying to kill her again. Dimitri comes back and he's like,
Nope, not my woman, bitch.
And so they all kill Rasputin. They leave Grandma in Paris, and then basically the story's a big happy ending, you know. Grandma finds her granddaughter. She's real excited about that, and she's like, okay, well, go live your life, sweetie, you're young. Dimitri and Anastasia elope. It's just so romantic and cute, and everyone just lives happily ever after. The end.
And that is the most popular 21st century Fox Disney version. But that is nothing like...
Buckle up, kids, I'm about to ruin your childhood.
Okay, so background. Now, the story of Anastasia takes place in Russia, which is probably one of the most well-known Eastern European countries ever. Like, I feel like they're known because of their leader, Vladimir Putin, that we're all scared of, and for interfering in our election in 2016. Now, the Romanovs specifically began their rule in 1613. In 1896, in St. Petersburg, Russia, Nicholas II is crowned as Tsar at age 26. His father had previously died unexpectedly a few years before. Before, though, he married Alexandria Fedorovna, who was the daughter of a German archduke. So they married, and Nicholas II became the Tsar, and then together they ended up having 5 children. Now, the thing about his rule is that he's becoming Tsar at the beginning of the turn of the century. So it's like a turn in modernity. Europe has become democracies and republics instead of being monarchies. Even a lot of his confidants say, like, hey, people want some power, they want some say in government. He's like, nope, we're gonna keep being autocracy like we always have been. And they're just like, okay, well, that's great, just give people no options.
Sounds sus to me, but I'm not rushing this on my business.
It's kind of ignoring the people's kind of pleas for democracy or for like a more democratic government. So we're gonna pause politics and go personal life. So Alexandria, she was a hard worker, okay? Part of her goal was to birth children. She did that. Now, our protagonist of our story is Anastasia. Anastasia is the Gemini queen. I've found 2 different dates. I've seen either June 18th or June 5th of 1901 in St. Petersburg. Now, she was preceded by 3 older sisters, Olga, Tatiana, and Maria. And then later on, her brother, the Tsarevich Alexei, was born in 1904. And then he's ultimately the last one. And then the girls are kind of duchesses. They can't really rule, even though it's like they're older, they should be able to rule, but they really can't. And so we're gonna do a quick rundown on the Romanov kids. So Olga, the oldest, was a sensitive Scorpio, and she was known for being like very honest. Like, Olga was known for being very compassionate but very moody, which I'm like, that sounds very much like a Scorpio. Love y'all. My best friends are Scorpios. 2 of them are Scorpios. No, one's Libra, one's a Scorpio, one's Virgo. Yeah, so she's Scorpio. She's sensitive and passionate but moody. Also, the 2, she suffered depression. But, you know, she just wanted to get out of the palace, because their palace life, like, they really need to see the world. They just kind of knew the palace and not much else. Well, the palace and their palaces, they have multiple around the world. Could you even imagine? Like, and then Tatiana was the second oldest. She is also a Gemini as well. She's known for being more practical and more, like, very straightforward, but very practical in her straightforwardness. Very calm and temperament. Like, she was kind of like the balance out to Olga, because Olga was a little bit more moody. And them two, Olga and Tatiana, were known as the big pair because they shared the same room, and they basically have to do everything together because they're the two oldest. Now we get to our two little pair is Maria and Anastasia. Maria in the middle, she is our kind Cancer. She was known for being sweet and friendly, talking to everybody. And she's also regarded as the most beautiful Romanov daughter because of her light hair and big dark blue eyes, known as Maria Saucers. Now, girl Anastasia was the youngest of the girls, so naturally she's like the trickster and prankster. She would trip the help. She was really good at making everybody laugh, and it always said that she had like a very quick wit and a great sense of humor, and she was very, very intelligent, so she got bored with schoolwork easily. And then Alexei, well, we know of his personality. He was a Leo, of course. He's a Tsarevich, so meaning he's in line to get on the throne, so he's a Leo. I mean, I think like Tsarevich just screams Leo energy to me personally. It's just what I think. But he was very kind and compassionate, and he made people feel important. But his birth is where we actually start to get like the life changes a lot for the family. Okay, so at first, birth of Alexei brings everyone joy because they're like, finally, they got a boy. They already have 4 girls, and they're like, okay, we need a czar. Like, misogyny, we can't have a girl czar. Yay!
So you thought.
But it turns out Alexei has a condition known as hemophilia. So, basically any kind of trauma to his body, like if he got any bumps or bruises or scars, they bleed really profusely. I don't think even to this day there's not really a cure for hemophilia, so there really wasn't a cure back then. They want to keep Alexei's disease as a secret, you know? But because of like Alexandria, the Tsarina, she is very religious, and she's just constantly asking God, you know, for help for her son Alexei, for him to survive to be this, like for him to basically at this point to survive to be the Tsarevich, right? So, she messages out to her, you know, their family members, like, if you know any healer people, just to them. And they're like, oh, we know this guy Rasputin. He's from Siberia. He's a monk. He can help out Alexei, or help you out with what you need. So they kept it very under wraps. Like, very few people knew that Alexei was sick. So, Rasputin, he was a monk from Siberia. Not really well liked in Siberia or in Russia. He was a whore, and was part of a cult as well. She's just like, oh, cool, like cult stuff. After seeing what he could do for like Alexei, Alexander was like, okay, like we gotta keep this guy around because he's the only one who can heal him by praying to God and hymns or whatever. And so that king, the Tsar, was like, okay, happy wife, happy life, good to go. We gotta go do stuff. She's happy with Rasputin. We're gonna keep him there, and he was known around. But most of Russia did not like this man. Let me just say it like that. They did not like this man. They were like, we do not like the influence he has in this arena. So he's eventually assassinated in 1916. Now we gotta jump back to politics. So it's like 1905 when we start to really see the fall of the Romanov dynasty. Tsar Nicholas supposed to receive petition from the people of Russia, but he does not, and it results in this event called Bloody Sunday, where thousands of peasants ended up being, you know, killed by the Russian army And with this event, two people are starting to lose their faith in the autocracy. And you have many various revolutionary groups forming in Russia, trying to figure out various ways to overthrow the Tsar. So because of Bloody Sunday in 1905, the Tsar reluctantly agrees to to let the people have what's called the Duma. It's kind of like a Congress, kind of like a Senate, like little taste of democracy. Everyone else is just like criminal Socrates. They're just like, boy, why are you doing this? Like, they're gonna want more and more democracy now that you've let them have this little bit. But it's just not gonna go well for them, honestly, because they're in these wars they don't need to be in. Like, they're in the Russo-Japanese war, which they lose. People are like pissed about that. People are dying, and you send them out to war for like what? For them just to go out there and lose, and like, it's just a mess. It's a mess. And then they get into World War I. And they're a mess. They're just losing that one too. But on that war front, people start to rebel against the military and against the Tsar. People are there calling for his resignation. You have the uprise of the Bolsheviks within the army and when like across Russia. Yep, the Bolsheviks, yep. They in there. They're like, yeah, so we can do this better than the Tsar can. Tsar's sending everyone to their deaths, and they were just very much against the autocracy. They were very extreme. They believed in using like fear and intimidation to, both these people are very Machiavellian. Very, very Machiavellian. During the World War I, he's away in the battlefield with the soldiers. Well, not with them, but like he's out there commanding them. So he's not with his family. The family's still in St. Petersburg. But they're having mass desertions. A lot of people in March of 1917, people start protesting the Tsar, and they're upset with like that they're like peasants and they have no food. Which I feel like I would, if you see the way that like nations they live in, you would probably protest too. You would be pissed too. The Bolshevik uprising, coming from all parts of government and from the from all over Russia. Like, it was really just like everyone was doing it together to fought against the Tsar. We're talking about the Civil War of Russia. Okay, so you have the Red Army, which is the Bolsheviks, who are pro-communism, just about what they believed a little second ago. You have the White Army, who is a more pro-Tsar force, but it's like not as unified. Like, they have different peoples. They have people who are like more right-wing. They have people who are socialists. They have people who are Democrat socialists. Like, they have more variety on the white side. August of 1917, the Romanovs all have to leave the palace. But 4 of them had caught the measles. All the kids but Maria caught the measles. So they were taken to another place with their tutor, Pierre Gidiard, who taught them French. While Maria and the parents, the Tsar and Andreena, were taken to Ekaterinburg, to the Ipintiv house. So no, while they were away, the 4 kids ended up getting their heads shaved off just because the measles made their hair fall out. And so they were just like, okay, you guys look a hot mess, like, just shave it all off. But eventually they were able to reunite with Maria and the Tsarina and the Tsar in Ekaterinburg, and they were on lockdown for like months. Just like, yeah, just gonna stay here. What we tell you to do, because they were under Bolshevik, because like Ekaterinburg was a very big Bolshevik area. So at this point they're kind of like pawns in the game. Like, I feel kind of bad for them because like at this point it's hard for them to tell who really is like good or bad, or who's gonna help them, who's gonna hurt them. Like, we don't really know. They don't really know. These people hate the Tsar. They hate the monarchy. They hate it. They think they can do it better. Eventually, the Bolsheviks do seize control of the Duma in November of 1917. So they're like, yeah, we run this ship. And then the White Army's coming to get them. They're like, no. No, you're not, you crazy Leninist. Crazy crazies. I think it was easily like 9 months that they were in isolation in Ekaterinburg. But like the White Army started advancing onto Ekaterinburg, which is their Bolshevik stronghold. And they were like, oh hell no. Because their main goal, like, I mean, again, like the Tsar and the Duchesses, they were kind of just like pawns for them. Like, I guess they wanted to kill them, but I know, well, it's known that Joseph Lenin, people still love the Tsar's family at least, so he didn't want to have to kill the children just because he didn't want that bad PR. But at the same time, at this point, the White Army's against them, so they were scared that if the White Army got to Ekaterinburg, that they would release the family and have them back in power because they were pro-Tsar forces. So basically, to avoid that happening, just kill the whole family. They take them to the cellar at like 1 or 2 in the night and have a firing squad. Just shoot them all. And I think 2 peasants as well. This happened on July 16th or 17th of 1918. And that was the end of their line. Like, they shot at them, but the Duchesses had like jewels sewn into their undergarments, so they were technically wearing like the world's most expensive bulletproof vests. So I've heard that they shot them in the head. They so them with bayonets to make sure that they were dead. Like, they made sure they finished the job up, that all these people, all the whole royal family that was with them is dead. Because when the White Army gets to Ekaterinburg, they're like, oh my god, where's the royal family? And they're like, oh, we don't know. Well, they let it be known that the Tsar is dead. They let it be clear that the Tsar is dead. But then people are like, where are the kids at? Where are the kids? And they're like, we don't know. So rumors circulate that one of them escaped. Well, rumors circulate because there was an Austrian prisoner of war named Rudolf Lacker, and he has stated at one point that Anastasia was still alive and she had played dead, and he had let her, like, he heard her wrangling in the back and he just let her go. And later took that claim back, and he asked how he could be part of the firing squad. He said, I don't have any loyalty to the Tsar. I'm a prisoner of war. They sent me to work with the Bolsheviks. That's what I did. Like, he was not trying to really be accountable. But I say, how could you blame him? Like, they're like, you're working with these people. That's what you gotta do. Okay, that's what I gotta do. That's what I gotta do. But yeah. Because him saying this, though, it made it easy for people to take on his story and be like, oh yeah, I'm Anastasia because Rudolph helped me escape, trying to get that money from the grandmama. These people are trash. Even back then, these people really would do anything for clout. Which again, I think is really sad. Before, there were tons of imposters pretending to be Anastasia. The most famous of these was Anna Anderson. She was at first known as Miss Unknown, as she... I'm not laughing because it's funny, but it's like she tried to commit suicide by jumping off a bridge in Germany. And when the police apprehended her and asked her who she was, she said she didn't know, so they just called her Miss Unknown. But when she was institutionalized somewhere either in Russia or I think in Russia, or it was the time she was actually institutionalized somewhere in Russia because she was considered insane. Someone said to her, "Oh, look, it's the Grand Actress Anastasia," and then she just kind of went with that because she didn't have any idea who she really was. And I just think it's crazy because maybe it's something I'm missing. I feel like they have the same nose, but I feel like she looks nothing like Anastasia. Like Anastasia has more demure lips, smaller eyes. Like this lady has big round eyes, more like, I think maybe like one of the older sisters, she's like one of the older sisters. But you know, this lady is like Anastasia's age, so because there is no DNA testing and there's no definitive way to prove that she's not Anastasia. The public and the family is even like the royal family is torn because they're like, oh, but she like Anastasia spoke Russian, English, and French. This lady only spoke Russian, and so people are like, well, why doesn't she know the languages if she is the princess or the duchess? They're like, but she had a dramatic event of witnessing her family being killed. She may just not know anymore because of all that trauma, you know, because her brain is like, you know, so. It was really like split opinions. People really thought that she was Anastasia. Like, look at my now, I'm looking like, that's insane. She looks, I mean, to me, she looks nothing like her. Could just be an asshole though, but to me, she looks nothing like her. But you know, she lived a high life though. She was on a lot of TV shows claiming to be Princess Anastasia. She took it to her grave in 1984, which was when she died. She went to the grave claiming that she was Anastasia Romanov. But it turns out Anna Anderson's real name was Franciszka Skanskowska. And she actually was a Polish factory worker who had witnessed, like, they had thrown a grenade in that factory and witnessed the death of her husband and some of her friends. So they're thinking that's probably why she was able to just, like, she didn't know who she was when the police found her, and somehow she landed in Germany, which I'm like, how? Bitch, how? Some of the questions I'm like, how did she get all the way over there? Like, you know, basically, it's like, I don't know, it's like hearing that, like, makes you want to have a little sympathy for her, because you're like, oh, like, poor baby, like, she didn't have much to live for when she was trying to give her life away, because she had lost everyone she knew, pretty much, in this, grenade attack. So she got to have fun pretending to be Anastasia, even though, like, I think at some point was deemed schizophrenic, so they're like, yeah, I mean, she's doing her thing. I thought that was fascinating that people really thought that was her. It wasn't until DNA testing that when they had the remains of the bodies in 1990s that they learned that definitively it wasn't her. Like, she had no connection to the royal family whatsoever. Bolsheviks did kill all the Romanovs who's ever under their control in Russia. A lot of them did get away though, like the King Nicholas's mother, she got away. She's the one who went to Paris, I believe. And meet the imposters. So she did get away. Various other people in the Romanov family got away, so there are, like, no immediate Romanov family members are alive today, but then you do still have some others that are, like, distant relatives, so, like, Prince Philip Edinburgh, he is a descendant of the Romanov line. With this makeup montage, I'm going to quickly show you a few of the Romanov living relatives that are alive today. I'm like weird as hell because I looked this story up originally when I was like in college still, and I wonder why they had made the cartoon with red hair. You know, the Anastasia like had like light auburn hair and more like brownish hair. They just went down the rabbit hole of like the real story of like how none of them survived, which I'm like, I don't think there's any way you could. I did do a lot of research for this video. I watched The Last Hours a few times. I watched documentaries about finding their bodies, about, you know, the Russian Revolution, about their lives as Romanovs, and they lived a pretty sheltered life, you know. I think one of the biggest ways when I watched this one is like, you guys have to learn how to read a room, okay? Like, he's trying to push autocracy on them, and they want democracy. Like, he probably should have given to the doomers sooner, and it may have been okay. Or like, he probably shouldn't have done all those wars, honestly. Like, I just was like you wanna, but then again, also too, like, I don't know, Nicholas II, or Grosvenor, hard to like he did pogroms, which is like these organized mass killings of Jewish people, like for no damn reason. Like, apparently at that time, it's like the Romanov family across, like the Romanov family was like, we're starting to be anti-Semitic, which I'm just like for what? And then, like, you know, that makes me think, if he doesn't like Jewish people, he probably don't like white people, so like that makes me like him a little bit less. Yeah, I mean, it's like I can see killing him, but I'm like, the kids. But I know, again, like, they were like pawns. Like, the royal family was like pawns of the Bolsheviks. Like, they did not like them. And I think the idea was so if the White Army had come in and like won the war with the Red Army, the fear was that they would put the Romanovs back in power. So I guess the idea was for is there to be no Romanovs to put back in power. I mean, it's messed up. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think at first finding out that she didn't survive was depressing and was saddening for me. Because I think that's why a lot of people wanted Anna Anderson to be Anastasia, because like you want to think, because I mean, I guess like we're essentially moved now from 2020, but like you want to think people are not that evil to kill children, but they are. So yeah, like first finding that out, you kind of did have hope that she survived, but obviously she didn't. But like I'm looking at it now, I'm like, after having witnessed that, like, would you really want to have survived? Maybe I'm an asshole. That's always possible. But like, I'm thinking like, I don't think I want to have survived. Like, I would be like, just take me too. I don't want to have to like wake up or dream about that. Cause I know, Anne Anderson, they said she would have like night terrors about what happened to her, at that Polish factory. Like, she didn't remember anything during the day, but at night it would come to her. So I'm like, I mean, it'd make you literally go insane. So that's how I feel personally. I do love this story. It's really fascinating. Just elements that come together. And I feel so bad for Miss Anastasia because she could have had a great life. She'd have a great life. She'd have a pretty easy life until like that last couple years there. But like, I just feel some people have to, like, when kids have to pay for like their parents' bad doing, like their parents' bad mistakes, and their parents just not, again, not reading the room and not like focusing on things they should be focusing on. And but yeah, please comment down below and tell me what is the most interesting thing you found out about the story of Anastasia and the Romanov family. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Bye. До свидания.